Yeah. Street. Yeah. You already know what it is, man. Yeah. Okay. They said big kill streak, I wanna be like you. Wanna walk, wanna talk, get my knee like you. Goddamn.
What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Sean Ford, aka Big Kill Streak. You can check out my music on my other channel at Big Kill Streak, but that's only if you want to. So currently, I'm banned off live for an undisclosed amount of time because I'm not sure how long. I don't have a strike on my channel, but I was doing a live stream the other day where I was cleaning my guns and watching videos. Unbeknownst to me that I couldn't show my guns on live, but it is okay in a video, which I think is kind of odd, but I guess it makes sense. Either way, we are going to take a look at this Jubilee video tonight. I'm realizing I haven't dropped a video for a while. Something about my PC and YouTube, the YouTube just doesn't seem to like this format of video. I don't know. They seem to like it when I make my videos on my phone because I can't seem to pick up any steam. Either way, there's not much to say about this. I think we all know which side I stand on. Really, I mean, there's no side I stand on, quote unquote. I just side with whatever makes sense. So let's see who makes the most sense here on blah blah blah. I think it's one. Yep. So let's do it. Liberals and conservatives are more similar than you think. Okay, that's what this is about. Hold on, give me a second. Let me make sure my square isn't too big. That's fine, right? Okay. No. Okay.
As there is a lot of infighting on the right that I think makes us look very bad. One thing about liberals, you guys really do stick together and you actually get work done, even when I don't agree with it.
From my perspective as a liberal, I sometimes see y'all sticking really hard
Yeah,
together.
same.
And y'all are like, no matter what, we're gonna vote
No
red.
comment. I wonder which one's a liberal.
The far left and the far right are equally problematic. 3, 2, 1.
I don't know if I agree with that all the way.
I've actually seen both sides. I'm a gay conservative, and I have seen the far right chastise me for my sexuality, and I've seen the far left chastise me for being conservative. I've had my own address put on the freeway here in Los Angeles because they feel that my voice should not be out there. So I see the two sides actively doing harm to those of us in the middle who have a really rational voice and want to express ourselves in a safe way.
I appreciate the anecdotal experience that you had.
I would have said that dude was liberal, but he is wearing the American flag, so that kind of gave it away.
But I think my issue saying that liberals are more problematic, I think everyone is.
What I talk about in my anecdotal incident is where I have never had a conservative physically attack me on the streets for what I am or who I am. They may verbally attack me. I've got that from the left too, but the left has physical attacks on my physical being out on the streets because I'm expressing myself.
That's why I would have went to disagree, because I'll be honest, like I said, I'm not on any given side, but them liberals, boy, them liberals be drawn. They be tripping. They do things they accuse the right of doing. I've got horses in both races, to be honest, but
so I mean,
multiple.
The opposite for myself. So experiences, as I said, anecdotal.
Right.
Your experience, completely valid, but to say, oh, liberals are worse.
Right. Well, it's not that they're.
he didn't say that.
There's no one worse, which is why I didn't move to strongly agree. My anecdotal experience tells me that there is a
strike one, liberals,
on both sides that will do active harm to someone who steps out of their expected narrative.
I feel like when we talk about political extremes, I think one, there is a lack of desire for bipartisanship. The second thing is this kind of like playful attachment to facts. People on the far left and the far right, whether we're talking about Israel-Palestine or vaccines, people seem to have like very fun activities in terms of just completely making stuff up regarding these two things. And then the third thing is the demonization of political opponents, where people on the far left and the far right engage in this idea that the people on the opposite side of the aisle, they're not just different or have different ideas, they actually hate the country, they want to destroy us.
You know, people get labeled as extremists just for being even pretty centrist, based on our small conversation we've already had here. I don't think anyone here is extreme.
No.
But going down the street, you might get labeled, you know, crazy leftist or racist or.
I had to take his shirt off, for real.
It's interesting because when answering this prompt, I sort of hesitated. I've been on both sides
Kamala.
of the spectrum. I used to be what
I
I would
love you,
characterize
Kamala.
as a radical leftist. Now I'm sort of right of center, and I feel like I get characterized as a far right extremist quite a bit. So I was.
Baby girl, you got that ponytail pulled real tight. It almost looks like it's pulling on your face. I still love you though.
Thinking, what does far right even mean? Because so many people who I deem to be reasonable are characterized as far right, and I'm sure people on the left feel that very same way. I've gone and spoken to different campuses, both as a leftist and as a right of center individual, and I've never received more hatred or people trying to cancel my events than coming to those campuses as a conservative speaker.
Well, do you
yeah.
think that's because some of that rhetoric causes a lot of harm on the right?
Oh, here we go with the causes harm with words bullshit. Oh, do you think that's because nothing against that, but god damn, bro, this is the liberal bullshit that we get into. Oh, don't you think some of those words cause harm? They literally think words are physically getting up and doing things to people. I don't even understand. I'm trying to understand.
Side, like a lot of like the things that are being said maybe in those talks like can have like lasting impacts on those students when you're on those campuses. So like, you know, and in the other way, like the conservative students might not like care as much about, you know, like, oh, like progress is being talked about. Like, you know, like I think like there's
Perfect example is
different-
Dylan
I don't
Mulvaney
know.
just spoke at the University of Penn. They are free to go and have a talk. Conservatives didn't come out and try to cancel that event. They didn't threaten staff. They didn't blockade the entrances. They let that event go on. Amala goes to speak, and there's rallies. They're pulling fire alarms. They're attacking the attendees. There is extremism.
I'm sure
We just have-
that there is, but I don't think Dylan Mulvaney is the right person to use for your example because of how much.
She's a leftist.
She's a leftist, but she's also had her life threatened on multiple occasions.
Right.
She's had to move around a lot because her address continuously is doxxed, and she wasn't even speaking at any sort of event. She was given a free Bud Light can, and her life was threatened.
I think something that's
Wear a full shirt. Wear a full shirt. I don't know where you got that baby shirt, but goddamn, bro. What is this outfit? What are you wearing? Get a stylist.
really important to keep in mind, given the entirety of the show actually, is when we talk about like canceling or attacking people, the reality is if you have the power to do it, you will do
I
it.
know this
and on
guy.
college
Oh,
campuses,
he's a
the prevailing
YouTuber.
thought right
I
now
was
is
about to say,
generally
I know this guy
So
from
if they
somewhere.
can cancel or if they can bully conservative speakers off campus, they'll do that. But then right now, because conservatives don't have power on college campuses or in some forms of media, they'll say, well, the left is pro-cancel culture. No offense to conservatives. You don't get credit for saying, well, we didn't try to cancel somebody on college campus. Yeah, that's because there's like 10 of you. You couldn't do it even if you wanted to, right? Like, obviously you didn't do it, right?
I think there's way more conservative students than I think people actually give credit to, but maybe they feel like they need to, harbor those beliefs internally rather than, espouse them out loud. And I will say, any conservative who wants to shut down an event or a speech, I would wholly disagree with.
There should not be limitations on free speech. 3, 2, 1.
If anybody, of course the liberals go to the disagree. That was pretty quick.
Okay, I hate this prompt. Because we all agree that like direct calls to violence are not acceptable, I imagine.
Right.
We all agree
No
like
one-
you can't scream
obviously.
fire, in a theater. Otherwise, I think that like there should be Nazis on college campuses, like doing their ideology. You should be allowed to say basically whatever rhetoric you want, as long as it's not like violating the terms of service of a platform. I do agree that vaccine misinformation is harmful. I do agree that misinformation relating to conspiracy theories is harmful, but I don't think the proper way to go about addressing that is to lock it all down and to ban it. I like the steps that YouTube has taken where they might put a note under the video, or what Twitter, or the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, called X, is taking, where they have like the community note system.
I was thinking the very same thing as you. Of course, there are certain things that you cannot do, even with free speech being present. And I'm not sure how you define hate speech. So with some of the hate speech laws that are coming about, I think those need to be reevaluated and maybe rolled back, because even people who we disagree with or we don't like or we view as evil should still be able to espouse their beliefs.
Right. For example, right now, what's going on with students on campus, I don't agree that Congress and other individuals should limit what students are talking about on campus, what's going on in Gaza, what's going on in Israel, with the crackdown on JVP, the crackdown on Students for Justice for Palestine. The people who are in power should understand that students are the most, I would say, abrasive when it comes to speaking out against injustices.
I'm a free speech absolutist. I think that there should be repercussions to certain free speech, but it's a constitutional right, and yeah, that's where I stand with it. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't agree with deliberately racist speech or hateful speech or that's pretty much it. Like, I don't think it should be banned. I don't think any speech should be banned. I do think you should face repercussions for whatever you might happen to say. So, yeah, all you people out there, like I said, I'm in the middle. I lean with whatever makes sense. Those of you who think that quote unquote the N-word is just a word and black people shouldn't be offended, that's not up to you to decide for us or for anybody who decides to be offended. Now, me personally, am I going to haul off and punch somebody in the face for using the N-word? More than likely not. More than likely not. You'd have to really push my buttons. I'm a pretty level-headed guy. But the next guy might not be as level-headed as myself. The next guy might be itching to put hands on somebody. So if you use the N-word in your realm or of thinking that it's just a word and people shouldn't be offended, if you get punched in the face, that's on you. That's on you.
I don't want any apps being banned.
Right.
I don't want people being banned from certain apps. And I think there's an attack on our First Amendment right now. Yeah.
So you think?
Oh, and to add to that, the whole call to violence thing. Listen, if you're willing to follow somebody telling you to go commit violent acts, that's also something you're going to have to deal with. It's not like these people do these things and they run scot-free. Mind you, Trump did not call anyone to violence on January 6th. He very specifically said peacefully protest. What all those people decided to do was a decision of their own. Okay, and a lot of them might have slid by, but very many of them are also facing consequences for that day and those actions. So, just saying.
No one should be banned from platform.
Absolutely not.
So like someone calls me like the F slur, you like leave him.
Yep. He can't say that?
Yeah.
Why?
I get called that
Because
all
that's
the
their
time.
right to say that. Now, you can, there should be measures taken to where, like I said, there are repercussions to certain speech. I don't think the platform should be able to remove them, but I think you should have the right to block them like we already can now, because I've lost 3 Instagram profiles just for saying, oh, I don't think children should have sex changes under the age of 18. Account's gone. Like, I've lost thousands of followers and stuff for just saying things that I think are just common
I do have a
sense,
question for you, actually.
Yeah.
Because I can understand why, like, hearing a word like that is harmful, and it's not something that you want to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather know who's homophobic, though? Wouldn't you rather know who's racist?
Yeah.
These platforms have the right as private.
It looks like they cut off the full response because all I heard was yeah. but it looks like they cut off the full response. It was probably wholeheartedly ridiculous, the full response, but who knows.
Businesses to say what they want on those businesses. It's not cancel culture for them to take down slurs. And honestly, they're not that great at taking down slurs anyway. Because I get called a on a daily basis online just for being a Jewish person.
The unfortunate thing is this internet and social media has become the town square. And the town square, if you were to take a box and put it in the town square, there is no limit to what you can say. And who's to say the city's gonna come down and say, you use the word and we're gonna take your soapbox and you can't ever come back to my city? That's exactly what you're doing when you're saying the platform has every right to remove this language.
You have the option to go to another platform. There's plenty of
So we have an option to go to another city then?
There's plenty of conservative platforms
Now you have no free speech.
You have free speech because
We can say the same about what you're talking about. If you don't like what somebody's saying in your town, go to the next town. Yeah, goddamn!
because you have so many options.
I think we have to be really careful when we talk about the concept of free speech. I like the concept of free speech, and I would defend that across
There is not a bit of testosterone in this man.
multiple platforms, but that's fundamentally different than the First Amendment. The First Amendment has nothing to do with like the concept of free speech.
Right.
The First Amendment prohibits Congress or state or local governments from making laws specifically abridging your right to freedom of speech. Like hate speech laws don't exist in the United States because there's not hate speech. Hate can be an aggravator to an existing crime, but we don't outlaw certain types of speech. Twitter does not have a legal obligation. It's a violation of their First Amendment right to say they have to host whatever type of speech or tweet that somebody has on the platform.
And a hate crime and a hate...
Let's be clear. Places like Twitter, Facebook, all those things, they're private companies. They have the right as a private company to prohibit certain speech or certain rhetoric or whatever the case is. Is it constitutional in the grand scheme of things when it comes to the U.S.? Hell no. I should be able to say fuck all I want on Instagram, but guess what? If I go in the comments and say fuck too many times, they will delete my account. They've done it. They've done it. I had a 3,000 follower account get deleted because I didn't say nothing crazy. It's just I might curse in the midst of making a comment, and it's never directed at anybody, but they take it, they community guideline it, and they did it enough times, cause probably a fucking 100 times to be honest. And I got deleted. That's just how it works. So these places are private companies. They are allowed to mitigate certain speech or ideas or images or videos or whatever the case is. They're not bound by the laws of the U.S. because they're private companies. It's like I can tell people they can't wear hats in my house, and you know, you might say, well, it's legal to wear a hat wherever I want. But in my house, since it's private property, if I don't allow hats, I then also have the right to kick you out of my house because you're wearing a hat. Bad example because I'm wearing a hat, but you know, you get what I'm saying.
Incident are two different things too.
different
And I wanted to say, like, if somebody called you, you know, the F word, and then they said they wanted to kill you, then that's a hate crime,
Bingo.
and that's not protected, right?
Correct.
But a hate incident, somebody could call you an F word, and that's
I don't know if that's true. Telling someone that you want to kill them is not necessarily, I guess, is it terroristic threats? I don't know. Never mind. Let me shut up.
they want to kill you, and that's still protected.
Exactly. It can be an
under free
aggravating
speech.
circumstance to an
Exactly.
existing crime, but you can call somebody whatever you want,
Right.
and it's not, yeah.
I often criticize my own political party. 3, 2, 1.
Today I'm going to use the power of AI to make a nice beat from scratch, so let's get to it.
All you gotta do is
I'm gonna
select
see
your
about
genre.
cutting this out.
I see that you're on the disagree side.
I am.
Like,
I'm sitting here
what
listening.
brought you there?
What brought me here is because I tend to be a more, I guess you could say, traditional conservative in that I don't like to speak ill of my own party. I just don't. For me to go out and air their dirty laundry out where everyone can see it is only going to put a blemish on them. And I always want to put my best foot forward, and I always want to put my party's best foot forward. But I will point out the instances where I disagree with them privately so that they can make the necessary changes.
I've got to ask, I'm so sorry, because you said you were a Trump supporter, right?
Yes.
This must be like the thing you hate the most about him then, right? Because isn't Trump like the most
But
like
here's-
anti-Republican attacks
But here's
his
the
own
thing,
party?
I come from a community where we found our power in local government. I've separated myself from this idea that I'm gonna speak poorly about Trump because I want him to put his best foot forward.
I wish more liberals did that, to be honest. I think a lot of liberals, we tend to bash
Oh,
our
so he's
party
liberal,
on the
okay.
social media platforms, or when we protest a lot, right? But
I thought
I
he was a
think when it comes
conservative, but it
to
makes sense, I
going to
guess.
these city council meetings, going to Congress, writing our elected officials, we tend to fall back on that, and we rely on social media, and we rely on demonstrations.
There is a lot of infighting on the right that I think makes us look very bad. One thing about liberals, you guys really do stick together and you actually get work done, even when I don't agree with it. Whereas the right, with people like us, I feel like they see gay Republicans or conservatives as
How many monkeys does it take to screw in a light bulb? Monkeys is a bad example. How many?
as useful idiots, to be honest. That's why I kind of take issue with saying that I'm a gay conservative or gay Republican. They don't try to cast a wide net to bring new people over, whereas liberals do.
From my perspective as a liberal, I sometimes see y'all sticking really hard together. And y'all are like, no matter what, we're gonna vote red. Like, y'all seem very unified, even though you're talking about like public, like there's like internal discourse. But
It's the same on both sides. People blindly vote whatever side that they identify with. I can't think of any people who go, you know what, this year I'm going to vote Democrat because X, Y, and Z and A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Maybe around the time Obama was running, some people were switching sides. But other than that, like, it's true for both sides. Like, a little less on the right, I think. I think a lot of right-leaning people pay a slightly bit more attention to what the policies of the politician are. And I'll say this much, at least from what I've seen, I haven't met one liberal who does the research on their candidate. They just vote liberal. It's almost like they vote liberal to spite whoever's on the right. That's my perspective. Maybe I'm wrong, but I grew up in a Democratic household. So, yeah.
like, I feel like liberals feel like there's a lot of internal discourse amongst us. We're always yelling at each other.
Well, that's interesting because Democrats, they're winning a lot more elections right now. You know, and that's another critique I have the Republican Party. You know, the midterm elections, they completely blew it. They put out a lot of bad candidates. The left didn't do that. They put a lot
policies. It's like the right stays stuck on certain things, like abortion. It's like they're unbudging with that, and it's like, all right, if we're pro-life, let's be pro-life in and outside the womb. You know, because they only focus on abortion. Well, what about war? Because now they want to send everybody over to Israel. So I'm like,
Violence should never be the answer to any issue. 3, 2, 1.
Hey there, it's Amala.
Hey, I'm Destiny.
Do you want to be in a Jubilee video?
If so, go to jubileemedia.com/casting or click the link below this video and you can apply.
Now let's get back to it.
I mean, violence, assuming we have a functioning democracy, I think violence is bad for two huge reasons. One is because we don't want to condition people to feel like violence is the answer to political disagreements.
Kitty,
And then
hush.
two, we want people to utilize, we want everybody to be able to utilize some form of protest against the government. And when we endorse violence, we're now saying it's okay for even people we disagree with to use violence, and that could be really scary for a lot of different reasons. But I would say in general, in 99%, where we're at today in the United States, we are not at the level of where violence is necessary to enact any kind of political change.
I wouldn't say that's entirely true. I mean, there's a certain level of violence happening to marginalized communities. That doesn't mean I necessarily agree with violence when it comes to the Palestinian rebellion that's been happening in Israel. I don't agree with Hamas killing people, like that's terrorism, but at the same time, the violent uprisings that have happened, most of which have actually been peaceful, but still there is some sort of violence happening because they've been oppressed for so long. Like back in the Holocaust, people think that, oh, Jews went peacefully into the concentration camps. No, we were violent. We had uprisings, we fought back. At a certain point, there is violence in fighting back to oppression.
I put agree because I don't strongly agree with it because I'm all about nonviolence in my life. What I practice, my spirituality, I'm all about nonviolence. But at the same time, as I organize and I'm on the ground and
I'm not. Let's get violent. Let's get real violent. Let's get violent. Okay? Because one thing I'm tired of is all these people targeting our children with all these policies. I'm not going to go into detail who. I'm not going to go into detail what. But I'm not against violence.
At protests and I'm at demonstrations, by any means necessary means, right, quoting Malcolm X, that you have to have some form of disagreement with the state that's not listening to your needs as people, as free people. And sometimes that takes, rebellious actions like burning down banks or burning down institutions that are not listening to you. But as Black people in America, if we're only demanding liberty and justice, we're not asking for revenge, we're just asking for equality. And sometimes I think the state looks at us being a resistance as violence.
Sure, yeah, the reason I came over here, I was thinking more internationally. If a country is met with violence, there's really only one way to respond to it.
I was thinking internationally. None of that black stuff. If a country
that. I don't think Israel could go to Hamas and say, hey guys, can you just not do that again? When Hamas is already saying that they plan more attacks that they had on October 7th. So I think Israel has the right to defend themselves with violence.
Sure, I think there's a couple of key things to keep in mind here. So one is when we talk about like violence in response to political ideas, we have to be really careful that we don't redefine violence to mean literally anything that we don't like. Because I've noticed that like people are doing these things where like there is a white supremacist violence against Black communities because of the way money is distributed with our taxes. And people will take that very academic form of violence, which is, and it's okay I think to have this analysis, but they'll take that academic form of violence and they'll say, now we can kill police officers and burn down buildings, or now we can engage in arson or destroy neighborhoods.
What kind of racist shit was that? This man just said, due to the mishandled distribution of finances between the Black and white communities, that, without saying Black people, now Black people think they can kill police officers and burn down buildings? Canceled. Destiny, you're canceled. Destiny, you're canceled. Destiny, you're canceled. Destiny, you're canceled. Look at you, bro. Brush your beard. I can't say what I want to say for fear of having this video taken down. But what the hell was that? Well, Black people are upset about very blatant and obvious racism, so they think they can kill police officers and burn down buildings. And I know people, oh, he didn't say Black people. Let's just hear that again.
Academic form of violence, which is, and it's okay I think to have this analysis, but they'll take that academic form of violence and they'll say, now we can kill police officers and burn down buildings, or now we can engage white supremacist violence against Black communities because of
white supremacist violence,
and people
money,
that very
taxes,
form of violence,
academic
is, okay I think to
violence,
but they'll take that academic form of violence and they'll say, now we can kill police officers and burn down buildings, or now we can engage in arson or destroy neighborhoods. Distributed with our tax.
Yo, fuck this nigga Destiny. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
I think to have this
fuck
analysis,
you.
But they'll take that academic form of neighborhoods.
You've been behind a computer for too long, homeboy.
Misrepresented by the media. 3, 2, 1.
I already slapped fire out of a nigga like you, bro.
Honestly, the media is controlled by the left. I really never see any positive light shine on conservatives nor the right in the media ever, unless it's right-leaning media.
And to your point, what I think is really interesting to even just look at the conservatives who are here today, it's a pretty diverse bunch of people. And when I was on the left, my characterization of conservatives was like white, heterosexual, old man, and to having moved over that space and see, oh, there's way more people who just happen to have conservative beliefs, or maybe they don't agree with some of the woke stuff that's happening right now. Too. I think we are often mischaracterized.
I do agree that right now, ironically, it seems like the left and the farther left have more kind of corporate media control in terms of how images are displayed. So you're going to feel like as
shit. I can tell this nigga, the type nigga, he think he's smarter than everybody in the room. I can tell. He'd be like, actually, I think the media and to be precise,
if you're a conservative, that you're not accurately represented, and the left maybe gets some more fair representation. But on platforms where conservatives run things, holy Christ, are people on the left completely and totally misrepresented. Like, how many times have I heard these stupid quotes from the WEF where it's like, oh, you want us to rent everything and own nothing, and you want us to eat bugs, and you're on your 57th booster shot. Today, if anybody's ever listened to Rush Limbaugh, Michael Savage, Billy Cunningham, like any of these people, these guys are not giving fair, accurate representation of the left. Their voices just tend to be more marginalized or smaller now in media because
y'all soft. Y'all want to ban guns and give men uteruses. Y'all soft. Look at you, dog. Look at you, bro. If I didn't know who you was, I dead would think they found a homeless man somewhere, gave him a haircut, and put him on his joint. Shut your ass up.
How much corporate control kind of like bows to the woke agenda, I would say. Yeah.
I'd like to push back on that just a little bit. I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but when it comes to right-wing media, maybe platforms like
Hold on, let me make sure I didn't screw up here. Okay.
the Daily Wire or PragerU, they're very open about the fact that they're conservative. A lot of the mainstream left news, they'll present their opinion as fact. But like someone like Ben Shapiro, he'll tell everyone,
stupid face.
Listen to my show, listen to Pod Save America, figure out what you think is right, and you could figure out the facts based on what we're both saying. You don't see that as much from the left.
I want to push back on that because Ben Shapiro has stated a lot of opinions as facts.
Yeah.
I don't think I think that there are better examples to use within the conservative party that are
Yo, Shorty got rolls and she don't got no damn shirt on. She ain't got no titties, but she got that little tube top shirt on. At least have something to look at. Like, you just, and this is a perfect example of the left right here. Ain't shit to look at right here. Ain't a goddamn thing to look at. But she got her little 12-year-old boy chest out and her motherfucking just jellies hanging out. Button your jacket or something and brush your hair.
that are more open about being opinionated.
And listen,
Ben Shapiro is not.
Yeah, or my.
Excuse me, real quick. I know I'm sounding real conservative on this video right now. But I claim no side. It's just really hard to agree with a lot of what these liberals get into. It's just hard. I'm not about giving up my Second or First Amendment right. These people want to ban guns. These people want to ban words. These people want to let adults identify as children. These people want to let children get surgeries done to themselves. How could anyone agree with that? How does anyone with a thinking brain agree with any of that shit? Fucking goddamn thing.
Michael Knowles saying transgenderism should just be eradicated from society. It's like, so now y'all are really giving them a bullet to use against us.
It's the culture war bullshit.
Yeah,
like,
culture war
it's
bullshit,
just
yeah.
like that's what I'm so sick of between both sides, because I do think that both sides are misrepresented within media.
They went way too hard with the Bud Light thing. I'm like, let's let it go.
Especially on this topic now, I think in 2020 we all can agree every news station, besides most conservative news stations and podcasts, were posting black squares and saying that they were black people. But now, you know, what's going on with Israel and Hamas, you see some media companies taking the silent side or firing correspondents on CNN like Mark Lamont Hill, or firing other people on MSNBC if they have a neutral stance. So I agree with you. I think it's a cultural war on both ends, right? You have some liberal apparatuses who don't agree with some things that some liberals say.
Same with the right and how they did Tucker Carlson.
Both liberal and conservative media, even if they say they're blatantly stating facts, they're failing to contextualize those facts, because a story presented with blank facts looks very different when you actually hear like the build up and like really see what's going on underneath.
Mainstream media tends to misrepresent conservatives. We all can agree on that. But what they do very well is they misrepresent liberals in a positive light. We can all remember the...
You see that face this fucking motherfucker playing dress up just did? Like, what? This is the attitude right here. This is liberalism right here. This, I guess because I'm in a box. This is liberalism right here. I don't agree with anything anyone that has any sense says. I want to play dress up every day. Like, look at this person playing dress up, wearing what is essentially lingerie in public, with a freaking wig on, head and face, neck, different color than the body.
News anchor,
right?
Going, it's a mostly peaceful
The
rally.
other one got chokers on, dressed like a 12-year-old girl. Something wrong with her. I don't know what's wrong with her ass.
There's a building burning behind.
And don't talk shit. I know bro is dressed crazy, but that's just how a old man on the right dresses.
Yeah. They've misrepresented the other side, saying, look, this side is all sunshine and rainbows, everything's fine, pay no attention to those people being hurt in the back. And instead of actually elevating people who were advocating for peace and saying, please don't destroy these buildings, they focused on the destruction and everything else, but not the actual destruction. So I see both sides being completely misrepresented, but misrepresented in different ways. The right being ignored and cast out as crazy, and the left going, we're the shining example of tolerance. Look at us. When underneath the surface, we see the truth.
The American dream is still alive. 3, 2, 1.
I feel like when upward class mobility is so hard as it is right now, the American dream is it's either dead or it's on life support, because it's just damn near impossible for people to climb out of poverty. Everyone thinks that they're going to be the next Jeff Bezos. You're closer to being on Skid Row than you're ever going to be to Jeff Bezos.
I think the American dream has become the American memory. Like, I was thinking about this just outside of politics. Like, you know how a lot of people have nostalgia for like the past and stuff. It made me look at America, and it's like, we're not going to get back the America that we were post 9/11, when everybody was a little more unified outside of the Patriot Act and everything. We're not going to get the America where all races could get along without people saying, oh, you're culturally appropriating, you're microaggressions, all that little stuff that keeps us divided. I don't think we'll get back to the America that we grew up in. I honestly don't. Like, I want to be optimistic, but it's hard.
I guess I just don't know that that's the necessary point of the American dream. I think it shifts and it changes, and it takes on the context of the time that it's in, where we had that sort of old school nuclear family, house with the white.
So, Amala, what is the American dream now? I would love to hear you explain what the American dream is now, if it shifts and changes. Hopefully they let you explain if maybe you did or you didn't, but I'd love to know, because this shit is, we are circling the drain, baby girl, and not the drain in the sink, the drain in the toilet.
Picket fence, that's changing with technology and corporations buying up properties and things like that. But I don't think the American dream is dead. I think it's taking on a new form. I think still there is no better place to be, no better place for progress. And as you watch people in other countries.
That I agree with. I tell people very often, I'd rather be here than over there. I'd rather be here with all the guns than over in, for example, England, where they seem to think not having guns solves a problem that it doesn't solve at all. Because guess what? You just get way worse crimes with people fucking stabbing people and cutting people instead of shooting them. Brava, problem solved. Psych.
Countries, what are they influenced by? They're influenced by America. Where do they want to be? They want to be in America. So it speaks to me that the dream is very much still alive. Opportunity is very much still alive. It just looks
The
different.
dream or the idea?
The dream.
The dream.
The dream.
Yeah,
The
I
dream.
agree strongly with what you're saying here. You know, that dream of being able to buy a house, having the nuclear family, being happy, that's still my view of the American dream. It is harder
That doesn't exist anymore. Cat, hush!
to attain, that's for sure. It might be dead here in California.
It's not, I can assure you.
I want to believe that the American dream can be like real. The more I've experienced life, the more I feel it is a little more on the dead side. Like, it's like this idea that we're taught when we're growing up is that you work the hardest, you're gonna get the most, right? Like, but that's just not true. Like, and that's not the world we live in. And I know it's a little pessimistic. As I said, like, I want to be like the poverty cycle breaker in my family, but it's like, it feels next to impossible sometimes.
It may feel out of reach, but I started my adult life with $35 in my pocket, and I was a runaway because my parents locked me up. I saw them achieve the American dream of having a home and having beautiful children. I wanted that, and I worked hard. And now in my work in real estate, I see people achieving the American dream all day long. Sometimes California is a little outside of our price.
Sir, what you see is people putting themselves in lifelong debt until that debt eventually passes down to their children, and they leave nothing for their lineage to progress off of. That's what you see. You see these people buying houses straight cash? If not, then you don't see the American dream, sir.
Rage, we got to go to another state, but that potential, that idea that I am free to choose to get a home, choose to get land, choose to start a business, that is still here, and I wholeheartedly believe that the American dream still rests in our hands. We just have to be strong enough to take it.
I think for individuals who immigrate to America, the American dream may still be alive and embedded within their spirit. But I think for BIPOC folk that are within America, the American dream is sort of a memory, and it's becoming less vibrant due to the housing crisis, due to, like you said earlier, gentrification, due to the lack of education. When the American dream was first, promoted within the 1960s, Reagan, Nixon, they funneled so much money within the American economy for people to go to college and not worry about it, for people to afford a home and not worry about it, for people to get a car and not worry about it.
Be able to work a minimum wage job and support a family.
Thank you, but now, since there's so many instances of people on the top, making sure they hold that wealth, we see so many BIPOC folk in America suffering and not being able to get to that middle class, right? The American middle class is no longer here.
So you're speaking just from the BIPOC perspective, not American.
I'm speaking just from the BIPOC perspective.
Isn't like...
Someone tell me what BIPOC means. I don't know. I thought it had something to do with Tupac. I'm not gonna lie. Cause like bi means two. It's just a different way to say Tupac, but I BIPOC Shakur.
Like, the American dream is supposed to apply to everyone, and I think that's the issue. It's like,
right.
When I heard you, I'm like, I think that's amazing that like some people do have the access to move and stuff like that, but like, what do you say for those people at the bottom who are working so hard and they can't? Like, they just
I feel like a lot of the views you have of the American dream get so politically tainted that one of the things that sucks is for the cool things that are happening in America, you can't even take credit for it anymore. I hate that I chose like the most politically divisive topics, but like, for instance, like I personally think the COVID vaccine, that was a huge success of United States innovation and capitalism. I think our guns are really cool. It seems like for all the things that exist that are good, we can't take credit for them anymore because all of them become so heavily politically divided that we start to have this huge doomer outlook on everything.
I think it's really hard for some people to have that optimistic outlook when there is so much in the way. Like I, as a disabled person, we're still forgotten about with marriage equality. We're still forgotten about when it comes to health mandates.
Disabled where, ma'am?
Huge success of United States innovation and capitalism. I think our guns are really cool. I think that's like super awesome. You can shoot awesome firearms in the United States. I'm a proud gun owner from Nebraska. It seems like for all the things that divided.
I've gotten about when it comes to health mandates. For a lot of people who live this every day, for us, the American dream is dead, and it's been dead for a while.
I just think, like, as a fun, the fact that we're all here and like clothed and fed and have water, and we're here discussing ideas and like how to make this country a better place. To me, that completely signifies the American dream. We are currently living it.
That's like,
I ain't gonna lie though, Amala, and especially Dream, you're talking from the top of the mountain. Y'all got money. Y'all got money. I'm not saying that you lose any credit for having worked for it, because you worked hard for it. Do not get me wrong. But you're speaking from a place of privilege and opportunity. You have money. Y'all chose to be on this video. Y'all didn't have to be. I follow Amala, or I don't follow Amala's channel, but I watch Amala's channel. Excuse me. And I know of Destiny's channel. Y'all are paid. It's easy to speak from that perspective. When y'all got money in y'all pocket, y'all don't actually have to worry about paying your rent at least anymore. Y'all don't have to worry about these things that somebody like myself or the next person has to worry about on a daily basis. You don't all the way understand anymore, at least in my opinion. Maybe you've lost the understanding of what it's like to work for 2 weeks straight, and all the money you made in 2 whole weeks is gonna go to your phone bill, your car note, your insurance, your bills, your rent, your food, your travel, and by the time you pay for all that stuff, you've got little to no money left. So at what point do you save money? Then if you decide you want to save some money, you have no money left. So, you know what I mean? And that's even myself speaking from a place of opportunity, because some people don't even have that. So, I mean, at least that's how I look at it.
You said, like, a really optimistic view, like, oh, look how far we've come, but what if that's not enough for those people right now? Like, that sucks for the people living right now who don't have what they need.
That's the beauty of America. We are free to succeed or we are free to fail. It's free to do whatever you want.
I'd rather be here. I'll just say that. I'd rather be in America.
Right.
Me too. Oh, no, that's not what I was trying to do. But, well, there you have it, people. Tell me what y'all think about that. If you agree with me or disagree with me on any points given. Y'all have a fantastical day and night.
I see through the bullshit like I got UAV. I ain't talking watches when I say I got a new AP. Automatic pistol with a switch gon' rearrange his teeth. These little RIPs up in this clip gon' make him take a knee. Bow, bow, bow. That's how that chopper sound. Red dot, steno clip grip with a backstop. Shout out all my niggas that been trapping on a back block. Speed racing in a foreign whip look like a matchbox. You a bad bitch.